In the sun-scorched lands of West Hollow, a vast and intimidating ranch named Claridge stood tall like a fortress guarding memories no one dared to touch. It was owned by Weston Clay, a name that made locals lower their voices and straighten their spines. He wasn't just the richest rancher in 5 counties. He was the coldest a man carved from silence and scars. Weston didn't smile, didn't mingle, and certainly didn't trust. People said his heart froze the day his was shot during a robbery gone wrong, a tragedy he never spoke of again. The town grew used to the legend of the cold cowboy who hid his pain behind wealth and barbed wire fences. Nobody approached him anymore. Nobody dared. But fate has a strange sense of timing. 30 miles away, in a quiet town named Willow Creek, lived a young woman named Jolie Grace. Once a promising rodeo star, Jolie's life had changed forever when an accident left her paralyzed from the waist down at age 12. Instead of breaking her, the injury carved a different strength into her soul. She adapted. She learned leatherwork, repaired saddles and reins for local ranchers, and turned her garage into a humble workshop. She still dreamed of riding one day, not to win medals, but to feel freedom again. One morning, a black truck pulled into her driveway. A silent man in a duster coat stepped out, handed her a sealed envelope, and left without a word. Inside was a note written in clean, firm script. "I need your work. 3 weeks. Payment guaranteed. Come to Claridge." W.C. Jolie blinked in disbelief. Weston Clay. Her work was good, but not legendary. Why would a man like him summon someone like her? 3 days later, after packing supplies and convincing her brother to drive her, Jolie arrived at Claridge. The gates creaked open like the jaws of an ancient beast. The ranch was massive rolling hills, black fences, and silence that hummed like thunder. Weston stood waiting, broad-shouldered, hat low, jaw locked. His eyes landed on her wheelchair without surprise or pity. "You're early," he said, as if time was the only currency he valued. "You didn't give a time," she replied. His brow twitched. "Let's see what you can do." Weston led her to a barn filled with damaged, tack-torn leather, snapped straps, broken dreams. He nodded once and left. For the first 2 days, he didn't speak more than a handful of words. He watched from a distance, arms crossed, guarded. Jolie sang softly while she worked, letting her fingers do the talking. The ranch hands were kind but curious. They'd never seen a woman on wheels command a space like she did. They told stories how Weston hadn't let anyone fix the tack since his died. She'd made the last saddle before her death. On the 5th day, something shifted. A storm rolled in, fast and furious. While thunder cracked and rain fell in sheets, Jolie was wheeling across the corral when a young stallion snapped free and bolted. The ranch hands froze. Weston leaped forward, but Jolie shouted, "Let me try." She wheeled into the open field, calling softly. Her voice wasn't loud, but steady, calm, melodic. The horse slowed. She held out her hand. The stallion stopped, snorted, and lowered its head. Weston stared, stunned. "How?" he started. "Sometimes broken things understand each other," she said. That night, Weston placed a single white rose at her door. No note, just silence. On the 7th day, he finally sat beside her in the barn. "She died right there," he said, nodding to the saddle bench. "A stray bullet. Robbers took the safe. I chased them. Came back too late." Jolie listened. She didn't offer or comfort. She just let him speak. "I blamed myself," he continued. "So I stopped letting anyone get close. Cold's safer, but it's not warmer, Jolie said. By the 10th day, they were laughing softly, carefully, like people learning to breathe again. Weston showed her an old saddle he'd once designed for riders with disabilities. Thought maybe someday, he muttered. Jolie's heart clenched. For me, he nodded. Then the shadows returned. On the 12th night, Jolie woke to find a note on her nightstand. You're not welcome here. Leave while you still can. The next morning, her wheelchair was missing. She dragged herself across the floor until Weston burst in, lifted her gently, and sat her on the bed. Who did this? He growled. I don't know, she said, but someone doesn't want me here. Weston's jaw tightened. His world was unraveling, and he didn't like it. Later that day, an older man arrived on horseback, tall, gray-bearded, with steel in his eyes. Harlan Briggs, Weston's godfather, the one who raised him after the tragedy. She's distracting you, Harlan said. She's softening your edge. You used to be a man who feared nothing. I used to be a man who felt nothing, Weston replied. Now I know better. Then you're no longer fit to lead this ranch, Harlan warned. That night, the barn burned. Flames swallowed the rafters. Horses screamed. Jolie watched helpless from her window. Weston rushed into the fire, pulling out horses, one by one. Jolie saw a figure fleeing into the woods. She wheeled after them, screaming Weston's name. They caught him, Harlan hiding behind the water tanks. Weston tackled him to the ground. You tried to kill her, Weston roared. She made you weak, Harlan spat. No, she made me whole. The sheriff arrived. Harlan was arrested for arson and attempted murder. As they took him away, he looked back once. She leave. They always do. But Jolie didn't leave. In the days that followed, Weston rebuilt the barn with the help of neighbors he never thought he'd speak to again. Jolie taught the ranch hands how to craft and repair tack. Weston asked her to stay, not as a guest, as a partner. I want to build something real, he said. Not just fences and barns, a life. She looked at him, eyes shining. Then start by riding with me. On a crisp morning, Weston brought out the custom saddle. He gently lifted Jolie onto the horse. They rode together slowly, joyfully through fields, once haunted by pain. Ranch hands watched, smiling. The cold cowboy had melted, and in his place stood a man reborn. Years later, Claridge became a refuge, a ranch that welcomed veterans, disabled riders, and lost souls. It was Jolie's dream, Weston's legacy, and proof that even the iciest hearts can be thawed not by force, but by love, courage, and someone brave enough to stay.